I'm Lloydine.
And I'm Heidi.
And we are
the U-Haulers.
So, today we're talking about Pump, the restaurant in West Hollywood.
Yep.
That we had big moments at. And kind of our first, it was our friend night, but kind of where it all started. Started. So.
Pretty dramatically for me.
Right. So I came out to visit when you asked me to.
Yeah.
For going to see my family and to meet one of my new agents. And I said, I want to go to Bravo Disneyland. So all the Bravo bars are on TV. And I wanted to go to the restaurant. Specifically, I wanted to go to Pump, which is Vanderpump Rules restaurant. And it's an amazing restaurant. I'd never been there though. And just like New York, LA, it has very close tables sitting next to each other. And lights and trees inside and sparkly lights. And yeah, it's nice.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Great food.
Yeah, really
You should
good.
go.
Yeah,
You're
we
from
should.
LA,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're in LA. And so we went there and we had friends like flying in and meeting us, but we went there first. And we were seated at our table and this couple was next to us.
Right next to us.
Yes, so there wasn't a lot of room between us, and that was hard for Midwestern Heidi over here. Me being from New York, it was not hard for me at all. So we were talking, and all of a sudden she said, you know, I feel like they're just really close to us, like they're eating with us, and I just felt awkward that I should like introduce myself. I was like, no, I mean, they were in like an important conversation, you could tell. And I could just tell they were not all about this. Like some people be charming, think it's cute. This was not gonna go well. So I was like, no, that's not a thing. And she's like, no, I think it is. I'm like, no, it's really not. She's like, I'm doing it. And I was like, okay. So Heidi proceeds to turn to them and say, hi, my name is Heidi. This is Lloydine. And I mean, they didn't even crack a smile. And so she introduces me and motions to me, and they look over. And I just basically gave a look that said, listen, I know you don't give a fuck who I am, and I don't give a shit who you are either. But we're gonna play nice. We're not gonna hurt her feelings. It's gonna take 20 seconds. It won't kill you. Just smile and say your name. Like I kind of gave that look. And then I just was like, I'm Lloydine, and kind of, play along. And the whole time Heidi was staring at me like I had four heads. And I had no idea all the things happening in her head, but apparently this was a big, big moment.
Yeah, it was, because
we should start with the fact that before we went out, she came home with change, supposedly change, and she's a lawyer, but now she's going to be going to West Hollywood, and she's been out in years, right? You hadn't been out in like a long time.
Yeah, 7-8 years probably.
Yeah, and so I was like, we need to go out, and she used to hang out in West Hollywood all the time. She knows the scene, but instead she decided she should wear her work clothes, and she looked like she was supposed to go speak at a Republican convention to go to West Hollywood. And she carried her big mom purse, and even when we went out dancing, she brought it on the floor, the mom purse. So she already was, like, I had a friend kind of teasing, saying that she wanted us to get together, and I was like, no, we are friends, we're not going to cross that line, she's not my type, this isn't going to, no. And I was very defensive and saying no, and the big joke was that I like to date like Latina girls and brown girls and black girls. And so my friend that knew both of us kept saying, well, I could get really get behind you two dating. And so she came out with a bottle of self-tanner. And she was like, self-tanner, think about it. And it was this big joke. She would just kind of push the self-tanner towards me all the time as a joke, kind of like Heidi could put on self-tanner and then we could date. So it kind of started getting in my head, and I was getting overly defensive, like, no, stop talking about this, not a thing. But was starting to consider it. But then Heidi was really making it difficult for me. She was
on
like,
purpose.
I'm not going to date for the next 10 years till my kids are 18. I'm not going to date women ever again. I'm going to go back to men. Or not even go back to men. You're just going to
go to men.
And I'm just going to be done with women because that was a shit show. And I'm gonna go put on, like, she put on glasses, put her hair in a bun, zero makeup. I'm gonna wear like Republican clothes to dance, like the whole deal. So we were sitting there and I was like kind of mulling it over, like, wow, I was gonna maybe have a fun weekend with her, but this doesn't seem to be going so well. And then this moment happens where I turn to the couple next to us and let them know that they should play along and not hurt my friend's feelings, and that we're all gonna just make her happy.
Right. And I think for me, why that was so significant is that, like, you just, even though it wasn't what you wanted and it was a little embarrassing and it definitely wasn't fitting in or like culturally accepted at the moment, you made me the priority. Like, we weren't gonna hurt my feelings, and it was okay that I had done this. And I'd come from a history of dating relationships where, like, I would have been like in trouble for that kind of behavior, right? Where I would have just said, like, this is hard for me, I want to introduce myself, and if my significant other had said don't, then like that's the end. Like, there is no,
like, you would have been yelled at or in trouble.
Right. Well, certainly they wouldn't have protected they probably would have made fun of me to that couple. Like, it definitely would have been at my expense, because like I disobeyed, or I went against.
So you were so shocked at how I handled it, so how did you think I was going to handle it? Because you knew me from long ago.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think that I expected you to like get upset or to do something like where I would be in trouble, I guess. But it was more just the way that I felt like I was yours. Like, the way that you looked at them, it was very much like, she's my girl, and we're not gonna, like, no one's gonna mess that up. Like, no one's gonna make her feel bad. Like,
and I thought it was cute. I mean, I thought you were fun. I thought it was funny, and that it was charming, and you were cute, and
right. And that was all conveyed. But at the same time, it was just this, like, I was just definitely the priority. And so it was so scary to me.
Yeah, so I didn't know that she's freaking out and that she wants to run in the bathroom and cry.
Yeah, because I had decided that, like, look, this isn't a good idea, and I was trying to keep her at arm's length, and I was dressed very specifically to keep her at arm's length, and I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to
let me in.
Yeah, I didn't want to fall for someone. I didn't want that, right? And I didn't want to bring that into my life with my kids. And I had all these really great reasons for why now was not the time to fall for somebody. And
so then you just stared at me. I remember you staring at me. And then you said in your head, you were just like, fuck.
Yeah. Yes.
And that you said you were...
I had been trying to keep you out, and then there you were. Like, I felt like you were inside me. Like, you were completely a part of my inner circle. And I didn't know what to do at that point. Like, I didn't know how to protect myself from you when you were already, like, in. And not protect, I mean, like, we were good friends, but I didn't know how to protect myself from that level of intimacy, because all of a sudden, there you were.
Yeah, and you said you were in trouble.
Yeah, I was in so much trouble. I knew right from that moment that I was in trouble. And I didn't jump up and go cry, although that was what I wanted to do, because it had been a long time since I had been shown that kind of kindness, since anyone had made me that kind of a priority. But also, there is something sort of startling about realizing that this person that you've known for a really long time could move into a space that you've never considered them in, right? And that in and of itself is scary, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as it happened, as soon as she turned from them and looked back at me, I said, I have big news.
And I was startled because, I mean, she literally just shouted, she has big news.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
I said, I have fallen in love with this man.
And I was like, I mean, she just made it like as if there was this big announcement.
As if I had invited her out for the night to tell her this big news.
It was just random in the middle of us introducing to this people next to I have big news. I'm in love with a man. And I was like, congratulations.
Yeah. And it just wasn't true or accurate, or, I mean, it just wasn't.
Just wanted to push me away. But
yes.
So I thought, I was like, okay, well, this isn't a thing.
Right. Super respectful. And
then she was really affectionate with me the rest of the night. And all of a sudden we were sharing drinks, and she was touchy-feely and telling me I was hot as fuck. When I was being hit on by others, she would call me hot as fuck. And I was like, if you keep saying that, I'm going to make out with you, because that's the magic words. And so then she was like, well, then if I'd have known that, I would take advantage of it and said it more. And so there was flirting. And I was like, wait, what is happening?
Well, yeah, because I couldn't stop it.
So then we went to a diner. We went to a bunch of different...
Well, we went dancing. We went out dancing, drinking.
Went to girl bar. Went to a bunch of different Bravo bars.
Places.
And then...
all the places you wanted to go.
Yep.
And then it was like, I don't know, it was bar close, right? 2 a.m.? Yeah. And so we decided we were going to go get something to eat before we went.
Naturally hungry, like always.
Constantly.
So we all of us took an Uber to a diner, and there was a really hot girl in there.
Yeah.
So I hit on her and handed her my phone so that she could put her Instagram in. And she did. And then she ended up sitting at the table next to us. And so the entire dinner was going through my Instagram and then holding up my pictures to her friend at the table. And, it's really loud to make sure my whole table heard and that I heard. And she'd be like, oh my gosh, look at her body. Oh my gosh, look how hot she is in this picture. Oh my gosh, look at her stomach. Oh my gosh, look at her there. Oh my gosh, look at her boobs. I mean, it was like... And I was like, wow, you guys are seeing all of this. They're like, yes, we are. And so we were messaging and, DMing. And then I was tired. And while I was waiting for my food, I laid my head on Heidi's shoulder because I was, we've been friends for a long time. So I was really comfortable with her. And I was tired. And I had my eyes closed. And unbeknownst to me, this one decided to cock block.
Well, I just made it very clear to her that...
She gave her a look.
She can flirt as much as she wants. She can be in as many DMs as she wants. But this one was coming home with me.
So the girl got upset and...
stormed out.
Yeah, she left and I didn't know what went wrong. So that was into that.
Sure was.
And then that's when I started in my head trying to figure out how this was gonna go down. And... we had the same friends coming over the next night. And so I kept trying to get it so we'd go to a restaurant because I was like, oh, the kids are going to come back soon and I only have a couple more days. I got to make this fun night happen. And she didn't understand. So we ended up having it at the house and with drinks and cheese and crackers and lots of whiskey. So.
They were here till like 2 a.m.
Yeah. So, and then I just kept drinking whiskey because I was trying to get my guts up. And so by the time they left, the room was spinning and I was like, yeah, it's not gonna be tonight. And we should do the test on that.
No, I don't know. I think this is
I don't even have to hear your answer because we've done the test so many times and I win 99.999% of the time.
But I think that the point is though.
No. Is there a point? Is there another point?
Yes.
What's the point?
That just because everybody else on the planet thought that way doesn't mean that I thought that way.
This is true.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure you know that.
That everybody else on the planet thinks that way. Yes, okay. Like you do.
Growing up, when I was a virgin, conservative, straight, everything, all my life, I would share a bed with girls. Like, if I went over to someone's house and they only had one bed, like slumber party, whatever, like, girls would share beds together. Nothing would happen, but we would just share beds. Or, like, in a hotel room. Or like, still to this day, when I have friends come over, like, they'll jump in my bed and sleep in my bed if there's not another place to sleep. That's just a normal thing that girls do. And Heidi had never heard of this. She didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'd had slumber parties and things like that, but then we were all sleeping on the floor. Or we were all, but like, never like, why don't you just share my bed? There's nowhere else to sleep. Like, that was not a thing. We would sleep on the floor, all of us, or they'd be on the couch, or I'd be on the couch.
And I've had friends move in.
Right.
And
live
share
in
my
her,
bed
yes.
For
Exes.
months. Exes, too. Oh, that part's probably not so normal. But the point is.
Okay, the point, yes.
So, then we were in the van the next day as just friends.
Wait. You didn't say the bed part. So she's staying in my house.
She would blow up an air mattress and have me sleep on it in the living room.
Yes.
And then we'd have to, take it down and put it back up. And it was such a mess. And I was like, this is silly. So she's like, okay, you can sleep on the couch. And I was like, okay, thanks. And then she was like,
but I wasn't being mean.
She wasn't being mean. Mm-mm. Or she offered me any of her kids' beds.
Anyone
that
she wanted.
9 years old.
I'm a fashion
model. Like, I have extremely long legs. I'm just long. I barely fit in her bed. So I was like, your 9-year-old's bed's like with their stuffies. So, is that what they're called? Stuffies?
Stuffies.
I heard them called
Some people
stuffies.
call them plushies or something.
I call them stuffed animals, but.
Stuffies.
Stuffies.
Hmm.
So I happened to try to figure out a better situation, but she offered everything in her house. I mean, she was about to pitch a tent in her backyard before she offered her bed.
Because I didn't think it was a thing.
Yeah. So
I thought I'd be hitting on her or something.
finally the next morning, I went and crawled in bed with her and was like, you have this huge bed. Why am I on the couch? Because I mean, I've known her a long time. I wouldn't do that just typically. And she was like, oh, you can sleep in here. And I was like, thank God. So that's how I finally got in the bed.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hitting on her. I just wanted a comfortable place to sleep. But then when I did decide this was going to be a thing, but I'd had the whiskey and the room was spinning, so I was like, okay, tonight's not the night. I did decide I was just going to like touch her, but like my leg to her leg, you know, just baby step it.
This is.
And all I did was
So-
touch
no, it's not.
leg to leg. And she's like, you're on me!
That's not what I did. That's not at
And
all.
so I flew the other side of the bed. I was like, okay.
I think I said something about your leg was on mine or something, but I did
Nope.
not say it in the exclaiming.
Your words were, you're on me. She said, you're on me.
Okay, but calmly.
So.
Anyway, okay.
So the next day,
We were running errands,
running errands.
and she was so sweet. She would come with me on all my errands just to be able to spend time.
We went to Burlington 54 times.
Yeah, that might not be an exaggeration. Okay.
So we went to Burlington. We're there in front of Burlington in the parking lot yet again. And she reached out and grabbed my hand and interlaced fingers. Didn't say anything, just was holding my hand. And I was like, oh. And then she let go, and then she like did something like, and then she grabbed my hand again, interlaced fingers. And we're just sitting there holding hands and no one's saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is a big deal. Like, we don't hold hands, we're just holding hands now. And to her, she didn't think that was a big deal.
Yeah, not.
She's like, sharing a bed was a big deal.
Yes.
But holding hands was not. And
Right.
many have said, oh, I'll share a bed with my girlfriend, but I'm not going to hold their hand if it's not something. And, I mean, I know some girls walk around holding each other's hands, but they're usually 12 at the mall, you know, and we date women, and you're holding it was a thing. Anyway, so most people have said, yeah, I wouldn't hold my girlfriend's hand interlacing fingers, just sit there without saying anything, just holding their hand, but I would share their bed. So I usually win on this test, but weigh in below. Comment below on, you know, which one would be a bigger deal to you. But anyway, so the night had come where I was like, this is what has to happen.
Yep.
And she had a headache.
Started my period.
Started her period.
Had to get up at
5 in the morning. Had to wrap
So many Christmas presents.
at
All
least
of them.
30 Christmas
many.
presents from Burlington Coat
Yes,
Factory, I think.
exactly.
And the kids came home
The
the
next
next day, and then I was leaving. So this was like my last shot if this was going to happen. And so I was like, all right, here we go. And we went to watch a movie, but I'd asked her if she had seen A Star is Born. And she said, yes. But I said, but have you seen the Oscar performance of Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga? And she hadn't. I was like, oh, you have to see that. So I put it on.
Totally worth it.
And she was watching, and she looked up at Lady Gaga, and she said, she has a kissable mouth. And I was like, what the fuck? I have a kissable mouth. What about this mouth right next to you? Hello? I was really mad. And so I looked at her and I said, well, why aren't we making out? And she goes, what? Why? I was like, why? And I said, because it
never
would be...
sound this dramatic.
You were so dramatic. I said, why? Because it would be fun. And she said, are you just being nice? I was like, being nice? What does that mean? Like, I've never been asked this before. And she said, is this just because we both like girls? And I said, listen, I don't just get with anyone that wants to get with me. I'm not a hoe. And she goes, you're not?
Which I meant as a joke.
So I went to the other side of the couch. I was like, never mind. And she's like, no. And so then I was like, okay, let's try again. So I went in again. And she was like, wait. I mean, what if...
No. That's when I left.
Oh, she ran out of the room.
Yep. I said,
She
wait, and I ran.
She ran out of the room.
I said,
I have to brush my teeth or shower or both. And she ran
Which
out of
I
the room.
was intending to do both, actually.
And then
But I decided to just brush my teeth.
she finally comes back, and I'm like, are we cool? Are we good? And I went to kiss her again, and she goes, but I need to know why.
Yeah, I really did.
Why? I was like, and she's like, I mean, what if it's awkward? Like, what if the kiss is awkward? Will you still come to see me? And I'm like, awkward. I'm like, we've both kissed before. I think we're going to be fine.
I was really anxious.
So I was like, okay, well, what if we start with a peck then? And she goes, well, what if I don't allow it? And I'm like, don't allow it? I'm like, have you heard of the Me Too movement? Like, you're allowed to say no. And so then she goes, well, what if I don't allow it to only be a peck? And I was like, oh, well, that's cute. And so then I went to go in again, and she stopped me again. And was like, wait. And I was like, oh, never mind. And then she just kissed me. Because I think she realized I just need to quit talking.
Yes,
like,
it was going very badly.
Yeah. So she actually...
Made the first move?
Yeah, I think she's very proud of making the first move. But after all that, she damn well had to. And I found out later, this person that was like, what? Why? I mean, she acted like she had never, ever thought of kissing me. Like, she was so shocked. Like, what do you mean make out? Why? And I found out that she had already talked to her best friend. And it was a little cocky one over here. And it said that maybe she was going to sleep with me this weekend. Before I had even nothing. I was coming as a friend. None of this had happened. And her best friend said, just don't sleep with her. And she said, well, maybe I will. And then she gives me this hard of a time.
Yeah, you had to work for it, baby.
Yeah, I guess so. So then we had our fun night, and she didn't sleep and had to go to court with no sleep. And,
yeah. Worth it.
And then that fun night has lasted a long time.
Yep.
It's quite a fun night.
Quite a fun night.
Had you known on that fun night
I would have been...
that we were going to be quarantined?
Oh, thank God I don't know the future. Can you
Day
imagine what a
in
mess
and
I'd
day
be?
out.
I had to stare into the future.
So, and then the next day I messed with her because
Yeah, it was me.
she left for court, and so she was like...
I'm a classic overthinker. Classic.
And I know this.
I mean, obviously from the previous story, classic overthinker. Yep, you know this. And so I sent this little text message to her from court because, I mean, I was on a break. But but I sent this text message and I agonized over whether or not I should include like a kissy face emoji.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big emoji girl anyway, but I was like, should I? And I think I must have put it on and deleted it like, I don't know, 15 times or something. Finally, I send it. I was like, whatever, fuck it. I'm just going to send it. And I sent it with this kissy face emoji. And this one...
I just barely responded. I was like, oh, have a good day at court.
Yeah, me.
But I knew she had agonized over it.
Yeah. So then she had her meeting with her agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to pick her up. And so I was driving the whole drive.
Which was an hour.
Picking her up. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what it...
Like where we're at.
Yeah, like, are we friends with benefits? Is this a thing we're going to do again?
Should I kiss her when she gets in the
should I-
car?
Like, yeah, is this like a thing where like while she's here this weekend, we like...
What are the rules?
So I needed to know the rules. Really wanted
So
to
I
know
knew
the rules.
this would be happening as well. I know, oh boy, she's going to be freaking out the whole way here.
That's right. And I was.
So I just got in the car, didn't
Acted
kiss
like
her,
nothing.
acted like, just hopped in the car like buds.
Yeah. Friends. Longtime friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's the play. And she's like, I had a really interesting meeting with my agent. And I said, oh, really? What happened? And her eye, like, she's really a little freaked out. And so I said, what happened? And she's like, well, he wants me to move here. And I remember, like, not really being able to make sense of it. Because, of course, here I am.
Fun
like,
weekend.
And so I think
I was like,
knew-
yeah, because she had said one time she had joked and texted me and said,
Stay
I miss
here.
you should come stay here. And she's like, stay a year. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my new home. And she said, yes.
Yeah.
And now here, I was like, oh, see that joke you wrote?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm supposed to come for a few months, so
Welcome home.
yeah. So then she invited me to stay.
Yeah.
And then she hemmed and hawed and tried to talk around. And finally I just said, are you trying to ask me if we're going to have sex again? And she goes, well, are we? And I said, absolutely. And then she kissed me, but I was eating chips, and so...
I had chips everywhere.
And she was eating chips.
Yeah. But even then, it
But
was
still,
just
it was supposed to be,
just that weekend.
Yeah. We didn't work the plan very well.
No, we're bad at the plan.
And so I went home, not home, but family in Northern California.
Yeah, I missed
And we
you.
talked all the time. And so then she asked me not to get on the plane. I was supposed to go back for New Year's Eve because it's a big deal. New Year's Eve in New York. So I was on my way back. I always did that. It was my tradition. And she said, don't get on the plane. And she bought me a plane ticket.
Christmas present?
So I didn't get on the plane. I came here.
Yeah, and what was really great was that when we were talking about that, my kids were going to be gone for 1 week and then back home. And
So I was going to come for a week, but I changed it to 2 weeks.
Yeah, because she wanted to see my kids.
Yeah, so I could have 1 week with the kids as well.
Which was another pretty big moment for me.
Yeah, so this is, and then since then she's asked me to not get on the plane to New York again and asked me to come here. And
Right. Saved
that
your
is
life.
why I'm now locked down with you. So she has a thing with me not getting on planes. Like I'm like, what is it with you and my plane's taking off without me on them? So
yeah, and that's why she ended up quarantined and
here I am. Remember when JetBlue was all passive aggressive about that?
I do. That was hilarious, actually.
They sent me an email when I didn't get on the plane, like not very long after.
It was like moments.
Yeah, and they said, what did they? I didn't even.
Thanks so much for it was something like that. They're like, thanks so much for joining us, or
Thank you so much for not standing us up.
yes, that's what it was.
Because I had stood them up. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, JetBlue was just passive aggressive. It was amazing.
It's kind of cute though.
Yeah, I liked it. I don't know what that says about me. So there you go. It all started at Pump. You should really eat there.
So good.
And who knows what could happen. And definitely introduce yourself to the table next year. Don't do that. Bye.